You'd be surprised what a kid can pick up. Sponges all ears and eyes. Who knows what information he has stored up waiting to spill? The Titans, they seriously call themselves that? The Titans were tragic Greek figures who got their asses handed to them by Zeus, who names themselves after losers. We are talking DC's Titans Season 2, Episode 8, Jericho. The AfterBuzz Aftershow starts right now.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah, you losers. Who calls themselves that?
That was a great line right there.
It was a classic line. It was a classic line delivered by Wintergreen.
Yes.
Who has become one of the most enigmatic characters on the show because we know so much and yet so little about this person. Mm-hmm. You know, all we know right now is his name is William Randolph Wintergreen, Special Forces. His name I know. Yours, I do as well. Welcome to the after show for DC's Titans Season 2, Episode 8, Jericho. We're going to be talking so much, but it's not just me, it is we. We are the panel that has the best Titans after show on the planet. All the way to my left, Jeff Williams Jr., Senior the Third.
Yes, all of those and above. No, just happy to be here. Happy to be talking Titans, man.
Happy to be talking Titans because he is a DC fan through and through.
Yes,
you're also
sir.
on The Flash. You're also on Watchmen and many more. Jeff has become part of the Tehran Entourage, if you haven't noticed.
Wow.
All the way
That's
to
a
my
thing.
left, but his right, Chauncey K Robinson is in the
Hey,
building.
y'all. Excited to be here talking about Titans.
That's right. The Blonde Bombshell is a DC fan as well. Also a Rotten Tomatoes critic, so she knows how to critique everything and everyone. And of course, I am Tehran. If you don't know me, then you haven't been watching AfterBuzz after shows because I am hosting them and paneling on a slew of other after shows, and we always talk that DC love. We're going to be breaking down this episode of DC's Titans Season 2, Episode 8, Jericho. First, we got to get into Jericho as a person, as a character. Then we're going to break down that backstory. Dick and Don, we saw that dynamic. It's been a flashback that's a grow back, so we need to discuss that. Jillian from Themyscira, of course. Oh, Donna. Oh, man. Donna had her day. Father's Day, we get a nice little conflict with the concept of who Deathstroke is in relation to Jericho's life. Dick and Deathstroke. Yeah, we're Dick and Deathstroke down. Special segment. What's that special segment called?
That wasn't very smart.
That's right. Where we break down what the dumbest moves of the characters on the show were. News and gossip, you're going to want to stay tuned for this. And of course, we have ultimately our predictions. Chauncey's are going to be vague and always right.
Yes.
And so much more. Let's discuss what the overall thoughts on this episode Jericho was. Let's start with Jeff.
It was just an okay episode for me. The one thing I wanted was just like a quick kind of summary on Jericho. I didn't think it was that necessary for us to have a whole episode for him, seeing that he's not in the present tense, like he passed away or whatever. So why are we getting a full episode? This is episode 8 out of 13 for Titans, so that's why I didn't really like that. He was cool. It made the story go by, but like we didn't really gain anything from this episode.
So we see that Jeff is not a fan of the flashback or the origin story. Chauncey, how do you feel?
I think this was a solid episode, actually. It was better than the last flashback that we had for sure by like leaps and bounds. And the two standouts for me was Wintergreen and Deathstroke. I could watch like a buddy comedy dark kind of thing on like what they do as assassins. I just love that dynamic. And Wintergreen, like you said, it just stood out to me. I just thought he was awesome. And I want to see more of him and his one-liners.
What do I feel like you are Wintergreen on the weekends? For my overall thoughts, I'm going to say that this storyline actually was very strong for me. I enjoyed getting that Deathstroke backstory. I enjoyed getting the Jericho dynamic backstory. I also stopped liking the Titans after this episode.
Yeah.
They are pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I do not like
Don in particular.
how they played Jericho.
Yeah.
Dick, Don, even
Dick owned
Donna,
it,
the
though.
moral compass of Donna.
I feel like Dawn was trying to be more of the moral compass, but she's messy.
No,
and I think
Donna was not. Donna was my problem. Donna was like, no,
Yeah.
you know what happened. They killed they killed Gar. We have to do something.
But it was more understandable. She lost the love of her, well, what she thought could have been the love of her life.
They kissed
maybe.
once.
I know, but you can say it like since childhood.
He chased her for 2 and then the day he got a little, he died. Like, honestly, Donna should be mad at Donna for wasting time. But
100%.
Let's not waste any time and let's break down this story. Let's talk about Jericho as a character. What are your thoughts about Jericho now that we've gotten much more of an in-depth storyline for who he is and what he's about?
I like the storyline. I like Jericho. I thought his powers were really cool. I thought it was cool to see and how they portrayed and everything. It just, for me, it just wasn't enough. Like, I get that he was there. It kind of takes away from why Dick is, like, brooding and angry. Because, I mean, it was kind of on the whole team. And he didn't really, like, kill Jericho, which we thought he did because that's what he told Jason. So I didn't really like Jericho in this episode.
So we are saying, Jeff, that you don't believe Dick killed Jericho because if it's my interpretation, Dick is the one who put Jericho in harm's way. He specifically did, in his actions, things that led to his death.
No, he did, but it was the whole team. They were all there. They're all a team, and they chose this, even though some were kind of upset about it.
I don't remember Dick asking the team, I'm going after Deathstroke on my own, as we've seen Dick do subsequently, where he makes a decision on his own. And goes after Deathstroke again, by the way. So this is not the... We see the future tense. Now we're watching the past tense where the exact same action has happened, leading to a consequence. Yeah. This time was Jason Todd. That time was Jericho.
I think Dick could have waited maybe to go after Deathstroke and maybe without Jericho being around. Because Jericho did say, you promised you wouldn't show up. So he could have possibly waited. But the thing was, I mean, at the end of the day, the things that led up to it, all of them were in on. It wasn't until there were real consequences that suddenly it was like, oh, this is too much, Dick. I mean, Dawn, like, just in the last flashback was like, be Batman. Well, you know, Batman can be calculating. Batman can use people. That's what you wanted. But suddenly, because you're not waking up next to him, you don't want him to be Batman
Which,
anymore.
Remember, no one's waking up next to Batman. Batman is gone at night. Interestingly enough, we bring up the point of the calculated tip. Would you have waited to go after Deathstroke, our own Wintergreen, Chauncey K Robinson?
I would have. I mean, but I also understood where Dick was coming from in the regard that, you know, Donna had been beaten so badly, which was so, like, unbelievable to me, that he beat her up as badly as he did. But, you know, it's the heat of the moment. You know, his best friend is laying there dead, and he knows where Deathstroke, not dead, but like hurt. He knows where Deathstroke is. This might be his one chance to catch up with this person who's been elusive to them this whole time.
Two things. First, Dick Grayson oftentimes forgets he has a team.
Yeah.
And
Same as
a
Batman.
person who's a leader, often forgets to lead. Batman, on the other hand, is a solo act.
Yeah.
Batman, even in the context of Justice League, Batman is the solo act and is known to do and be so. In fact, he has oftentimes given up the mantle of leadership to say, I do not want this pressure or commitment or responsibility.
Yeah, he owns up to it. Dick has an issue of not owning up to it, and that's growth, right? He's the younger person, and I think this is where we're seeing him kind of go on this journey to hopefully eventually become Nightwing, which Nightwing still ends up in her iterations a part of teams, but maybe understanding that he does have to do more of a Batman thing. He does maybe have to let Corey be the consistent leader while he, you know, gives his expertise and helps, but like maybe he's more of a code to her, like consistent leadership as she's the queen. So I think that he has to get there. He's still growing. But I also think a lot of the guilt, I mean, to me, I just felt like with what we ended up seeing in this flashback, it was anticlimactic to me. It made what he confessed to Jason Todd previously kind of anticlimactic, because I'm thinking we're going to see something where he turns around, he's about to like shoot Deathstroke and he shoots Jericho instead. And really what it was, Deathstroke was in the midst of like a great one-liner, and then he turns around and stabs his own son. I mean, that's not necessarily Dick's fault in that regard, and Jericho did jump in front of him. So
I have to disagree that it's Dick's fault, and I'll get into that. But before I talk about that, I do want to discuss the terms of something that was said between the both of you, in which it's Deathstroke did something to them. My question is, what did the Titans think would happen when they became the Titans? Did they think they would never suffer any casualty?
Yeah.
Nothing would ever happen? There is no consequence to the action of fighting against evil?
They're just naive in that sense that they like when you do that, there's gonna be bad people that come and hurt you guys, and you're risking your life, so you have the potential to die, like you said. So they are being naive, but it's just, the team knew that Dick was going. He's done this multiple times. He's left them multiple times. So I don't think that the team is innocent in the fact that I think they're just as guilty as he is. They know what he's doing. They kind of let him go by himself.
I think it goes to the whole thing of growing pains still. The whole idea of Titans is this idea we're not sidekicks. But you very much have still maybe sidekick mentality when it comes to stuff, thinking that maybe someone else is going to take up the mantle. One of the things we saw with Dick, last season, he was putting a lot of blame on Bruce. And clearly, if this is supposed to be believed to be the consistent plot line of where he was brooding from, really it was his own kind of doing with his friends that got him there. But he blamed it on, oh, this is how you brought me up. This is why I feel this way. Like a son who, doesn't want to take responsibility, although he wants to be a man.
We have a word for that. It's brat. My question to everyone at home. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Of course, we have another member of our team. Our Alfred is in the booth. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
How's that chat coming along?
That chat is coming along so awesome. We got Ivan Soto saying, Chauncey, that was Grayson hiding from the rest of the OG Titans. They made it sound like he did more than use Jericho, but no, they were all in on this. Interesting take. Dick blames himself and the team, and he blames him too. That's Madness Arcade. And lastly, we got Captain Marvel Kay Danvers in the chat. I don't know if that's the real Captain Marvel or not, but she's in the chat, and she is talking all about how, man, entertainment like Dawn and Hank wasn't really hurt by this. Only Donna and Dick were handed by Slade.
That's true. Here's my thing.
The
all
birds
of you
got
at
out
home
really easy.
Are as much a part of this panel as all of us. We love hearing from you, so please keep those comments coming.
Like that. Keep the comments, keep the chat. We love interacting with you guys. Literally, if you guys make us the ESPN of TV Talk, remember to subscribe. If you guys are watching on YouTube, like that. If you guys are listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, give us that 5 stars because I need 5 of them.
We deserve it. That's right. So, 2 things to talk about Jericho before we wrap up that conversation. Jericho's powers.
Those were interesting, and I think it leads to the idea that maybe he's not completely gone. I don't know where he might have gone at the end. Maybe like a pigeon or something, because he didn't go into Dick. So maybe there was a bird or something, or a dove, because it was a church. So maybe he's around some way. I think that was kind of the backdoor way that they could get out of this, of him not being completely dead. And I feel like maybe he's controlling someone, but I think I enjoyed his powers. But I don't know if you guys got it, but I didn't really understand the opening dream sequence. Was he seeing dead people, or was he in another realm?
I didn't really understand that either. I kind of just thought it was a bad dream, and I didn't think too much of it. There might be more to it in the backstory, but to go with his powers, I thought it was really cool to see. I thought it was like something different, something easy that they can show just for one episode, and it was cool. I hope that is possible, that he is in something else, or that he is not dead, to kind of validate him more for this episode, because it was just a one-off for me.
Well, it's interesting. It might be 2 things, in my opinion. Either A, people's consciousness imprint themselves on him as well, or B, he is in a different realm and experiencing what may or may not happen in life as we see it.
And maybe that's where he is right now. Maybe it's purgatory or something.
Well, that's why we get a nice backstory. We get this Deathstroke backstory where we see the experimentation, Deathstroke become Deathstroke, even though they were jumps and leaps in this. What were your thoughts on the backstory for Deathstroke?
I loved it. I've actually really enjoyed Deathstroke as a character. So he's so sinister, but it's also so like thought out, almost kind of like Batman, but on another, just in a more not for good type of idea. He thinks about stuff, he dissects people, and I think we saw in this episode as well when Dick was fighting with him, he was so emotional. I love that fight scene because he was like, "You're so emotional right now." He's like, "It's my it's my son right here, but I'm gonna beat you up because you have so much rage that you don't know how to function like I do." He's a trained assassin, and I just thought it was because like I said, I really would love to see more of like his own story in a way.
Yeah, just to go on with that, I loved his backstory as well. And one of my favorite scenes was when he was interacting with his ex-wife, and his ex-wife was pretty much like, look, you did this. You brought all this badness in here. You're the reason why our son is not only hurt, but is left with the Titans, so bring him back. And it was like, he's human at the end of the day. Like, he has all these superpowers. He got, he got all these superpowers. He was able to do all these things, good or bad. But at the end of the day, he's still a dad, and he still needs to bring his son back.
I liked having Deathstroke be a family man, where he came home, tried to separate, compartmentalize his life. Of course, they overlapped. We get the backstory on Jericho himself, where Jericho was a fully functioning boy, and now we see why he is deaf and mute in a way is because of the happenstance of killers attacking him and his mother on behalf of getting back to Deathstroke. How is that any different than what the Titans are doing to Deathstroke?
I don't think it is. I mean, quick question real quick. Is he deaf as well? Or, because I thought he just couldn't talk when, because like he was, like when he was doing his, at the beach or whatever, and everybody was talking to him, and he seemed like he understood, and then they just cut his neck. So I just assumed that he just...
As a character, he does have the propensity to hear. However, as an artist, which we will, as a talent, which we will talk about in the news and gossip section, Chellaman, who is playing Jericho, is a deaf transgender artist.
Gotcha.
And that's where that connotation comes to play.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's any different necessarily, but it's on the other end. I mean, maybe those people that attacked him in the house in Jericho, maybe they were, wanting information, and maybe they were the bad guys. But that's the thing about that kind of universe. It's all kind of gray. The idea that, I mean, he was going after Jillian originally. He wasn't even going after Gar originally, right? And Jillian, we found that out. And so it was nothing personal for him. So it's like, yeah, you're mad at me and like going after my son, but I was just doing my job. So in that way, the Titans are, they were doing something that wasn't kosher in a way because of the fact that, once again, like this thing of, doing your job, not thinking you're going to get enemies in some way, which is, naive. It's very naive. I did wonder, though, where was Rose in all of this?
I did wonder where Rose was. Where is Rose? That would have been a nice tie-in.
Is she like a toddler somewhere? Because they don't mention her at all.
At all.
I'm sure we will get another backstory, and Jeff will be mad about another flashback.
I don't think she's real. I don't know. Something's weird.
If we get a whole nother flashback about her somehow being in that family when we are 8 episodes in, then I'm frustrated because I like this show and I want the story to move forward. I felt like they just spent too much time on this flashback, and I wrote down where the F is Rose because they act like she just is non-existent. She's like, bring me my son back. I was like, you got a whole other daughter, supposedly.
We don't know if Rose is from the same biological mother. We don't know Rose's backstory at all.
But like, she acts like she knows her brother, and he didn't say anything about her. So like, how well does she really know him?
Well, he doesn't really talk, does he, Jeff? So let's talk about what too soon?
Yeah, too soon.
Dick and Dawn, which is this tumultuous love story. We see the up and down.
One-sided love story.
We see, yes, Dawn loves Dick,
and he looked at her like, oh.
Well, Dick has his walls up. Now, going back to the concept of connecting what happened to Jericho and the Titans, the assassins came and they used civilians, which is pretty much off limits when it comes to any violent behavior. They used civilians, and the Titans did as well. Jericho, up to this point, as a civilian. Dick and Dawn have this similar conversation as Dick is focused on revenge, and Dawn has at least moments of clarity where she realizes this is wrong.
Mm-hmm. I just don't like how she's playing both sides. I'm just on Dick Grayson's side because like you told him you wanted Batman, you wanted him to go all out, you wanted him to take out Deathstroke. He's doing that in the best Batman way he knows how. And when he goes too far, which Batman does sometimes, she's trying to play the other side of the fence. You just can't do that.
Yeah, and I think it's there's few things with that. It's the idea of she wants to put it on someone else, right? It's the same thing with Hank. They feel so guilty about it, so it's like someone needs to take the fall so we don't feel bad about the fact that this guy died. Which also just shows, as much as she said she's in love with Dick, she was okay with putting that onus on him, like saying, "You're the reason why Jericho's dead. I'm just walking out on you. Don't call me." And she goes with Hank, of course. And I just think it's very typical. It's this idea, let's play. And I also felt like, episodes ago, she goes to Dick and she's like, "I'll burn this place down if you don't close it." And it's like, and then you find out what really happened, and you're like, why were you talking all that smack? Like, you weren't a part of this whole thing in the first place. Like, it's just, she's messy. And I'm kind of glad that they haven't been consistently trying to play her like she's a mother figure or like the consistent compass, because she really just isn't for this show. I mean, I do believe that's Corey through and through, but it's just,
you do realize Corey was not even in this episode.
But
okay. I just want to make sure that we all understand.
I'm connecting it to the fact that a character like Dawn, but no, I'm saying a character like Dawn by default, usually white woman, blonde hair, blah blah, sweet talking, is usually given the whole thing of being the sympathetic character, the character that's always the moral compass. And I appreciate the fact, in a way, and this is actually maybe kudos to the writers, that they're not allowing that to be the case, that she is being shown as playing both sides. She is being shown as being a little messy at times.
Well, we do get Jillian ending up dead after all, which was the original contract. We get the text. Donna comes running, of course, to Jillian. Jillian texts Deathstroke, which we know is Deathstroke, texts to come. Donna goes over there, and a fight ensues in which Deathstroke hands Donna strong defeat. My questions to you. First, what were your thoughts on that fight?
It was really cool to see. I always love seeing her fighting with the rope and everything, but like Deathstroke, he whooped her real quick.
Secondly, would that actually be possible if Donna is who we say she is?
No, it would not. That was ridiculous. They have nerfed this girl. Like, as they say, where it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why they think she's got to hold that darn lasso all the time. Like, she doesn't have real fight skills and things. And I'm like, she's like Wonder Woman's heir. And I'm like, Deathstroke handed her, like, I don't mean to keep bringing up Corey, but it just shows the shortcomings that they've been giving some of the other women characters. Because Corey was able to fight, yeah, she's alien and stuff, but, Donna has certain aspects about her. She's supposed to be almost kind of on the same level as Corey. And it was like, I just felt like, maybe it was, you could say it was maybe her fury or something, so she wasn't thinking straight. But I'm like, all this training and that's what happened?
I don't know. Her fury should not have made her penetrable by knives.
Yes.
That's all I know.
I was like, what? She's getting stabbed? What is going on?
Now, the person that did deserve to get beat by Deathstroke is the emotional Dick Grayson. We do see a fight between Dick and Deathstroke. Thoughts?
I thought that was the better one. That was the better one out of the two. And funny enough, he put up a bigger fight than Donna was able to, which is so weird. But I thought it worked. But I also it showed just how much Dick Grayson has to grow as a fighter. Maybe that's gotten better in the 5 years, but it also showed, just comparatively speaking, Deathstroke was totally a better fighter than he was.
Same. The fight was good, and just the dialogue was better. That's what put it over the top for me. I love the dialogue, how he just talked down to Dick Grayson the whole time.
It reminded me of Batman handing his student an ass whooping. Let's get into our special segment.
That wasn't very smart.
That's right. That wasn't very smart, where we break down the episode and decide what is the dumbest thing a character did on the episode this week. Jeff?
I'm going to go with Julian. From the mascara, first off, she knows that Deathstroke's coming at her, and she's like, you know what? I'm not going to leave. I'm going to just stay here and fight. That lasted all about 5 minutes into the show. And she was my dope of the week.
Chauncey?
I'm going to say Donna, actually. If Donna was on the level of superhero that we thought she was, like, in canon, I would have been like, okay, it's fine, she's going to fight. But considering that she's not, I was like, that's stupid. You should have ran and got your team.
Mine's going to have to be Jericho.
Why'd you jump for that?
Because Jericho is like, will you promise not to come after me and my dad? Jericho. This is a group that's lied to you consistently. They only admitted to you that they didn't lie when you had superhuman powers. And then you expected them to follow through. That's all I'm saying. Coming in second is Donna. Why'd you leave with Hank? Let's get into some news and gossip, shall we?
AfterBuzz TV.
So of course the internet is abuzz with Chellaman, the artist that plays Jericho in this Titans episode. Of course, we get a deaf transgender artist. Now we knew about the existence of Jericho from March of 2019, but we didn't know such an in-depth concept of why Chellaman took the position. As a deaf trans Jewish person of color, I've always reminded myself of the power of differences, man tweeted. It's a dream come true as I will now be able to showcase this power on the Titans. Chellaman is very excited, a 20-year-old New York University student who identifies as genderqueer and uses the pronouns he and him. This is his first big acting role. He has gained a considerable following on YouTube, and it is nice to see. Also, the casting went out that they were looking for a deaf person of color who was ethnically ambiguous, and Chellaman answered the call. So that's how it happens, and it went down. Thank you so much for staying tuned with this. Let's get into some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Jeff Williams, the often wrong Jeff Williams. What are your predictions for next week?
Rose and Jason are both out of there once they tell everybody what happened to Jericho. Straightforward.
Chauncey K Robinson, the vague and often correct.
Yes. I think they're going to have a talk about what happened with Dick, and I think he's going to eventually become Nightwing. And
thank you so. Thank you, Chauncey K Robinson.
She really went out.
Really went out of her way. I'm going to propose that we do not get a direct Rose backstory, that Rose will just communicate how it worked, that we will get a Jason Todd resurgence, and we will find out that Jason Todd is the Manchurian candidate that we've been hoping for. Rose is going to come in, and they are going to ally themselves, and it will not be against who you think it will be. But until then, we will find out if we're right next week. Where can people find you if you want to be found? Jeff Williams, Jr., Senior, the 5th.
All of those, and at JeffWill_Jr. on all your social media platforms.
Chauncey K Robinson.
you can find me on YouTube at Twisted Woman CKR, and also on Rotten Tomatoes, as I'm a verified film and TV critic.
And behind the curtain, my better half of the dream team, Ryan.
Hey, you can find me at @RyanNilson_, and tonight at 7 p.m. PST for the Watchmen Aftershow.
That's right. We are talking Watchmen and more. And of course, you can find me at I am Tehran all across the board. That's IAMTEHRAN. And you can find me hosting and paneling on a slew of other AfterBuzz after shows, because all of your favorite TV shows are my favorite TV shows too. Until next week, Titans out.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.